It's time for another Steam sale, and I have 10 spooky and not so spooky games to share with you. First up, we have Darkest Dungeon, a roguelike turn-based dungeon crawler. Assemble your party of hapless heroes and face the various horrors that confront you. Gather resources to upgrade your hamlet and equip your heroes with better equipment. Manage their stress and personality traits to build your own parties from the game's 15 different heroes. This game is definitely on the difficult side, so if you don't like the idea of permadeath and cutting your losses, maybe give this one a miss. Hypnospace Outlaw is a point-and-click game about being an internet moderator on a pseudo-internet which people access through their dreams. This game is a very nostalgic one. Most of the time playing is spent exploring people's Hypnospace pages, looking for criminal offences and information to assist your other investigations. If you weren't around for the early internet, this game likely won't make you nostalgic, but if the idea of banning someone for posting children's drawings of a fish called Gumshoe Gooper appeals, then I recommend this game. Cultist Simulator is a real-time incremental game. You try and build a cult and ascend beyond your mortal vessel, while managing your day-to-day aspects of life, making sure you have enough money to buy food and that you don't get too depressed or too happy. I often see this game described as a plate-spinning simulator, and I think that's an apt comparison. This is a game about keeping on top of things. You will fail, and that's the point. The game wants you to explore and learn its mechanics on your own without any hand-holding or tutorials. If that doesn't sound like the game for you, steer clear of this one. Here we have Buckshot Roulette, a very simple game about playing Russian roulette with a shotgun. This game is surprisingly complex for such a simple premise. There are various items you can use to influence the game, but the main skill that will help you is shell counting, trying to keep track of how many blank and real shells are left in the gun, and can be a rather suspenseful experience while trying to outsmart the dealer. And if the dealer isn't enough, the game also has up to 4-player multiplayer. King's Bounty 2 is a turn-based tactics game where you move around in real time in the world, then switch to turn-based battles. You have 3 different characters to choose from with their own strengths and weaknesses, and then have 4 different ideologies, which you can invest in as the game progresses as pseudo-skill trees. You can field armies of skeletons, bandits, elementals, monstrous creatures, or stick to a more order-based human army. This game has mixed reviews, but for its price it's a very easy recommend for anyone interested in tactics games. My one mandatory recommendation is to edit a file to increase your movement speed. The default speed is painfully slow, but I've already made a video showing you exactly how to fix it, which I'll link in the description. Sunless Sea is a narratively driven RPG with a firm focus on exploration. To put it simply, this is a game with a lot of reading and a really great atmosphere. My main criticism is that the game is very slow at the start. Your ship is slow and takes ages to get anywhere, so if you aren't a patient person who enjoys reading, this game isn't for you. But if you are patient and want to explore and learn about a truly interesting and unique setting, in this world, London was stolen by bats and dragged miles underground into the Neath, a massive cavernous ocean. Next we have Into the Breach. From the developers of FTL comes this roguelike turn-based tactics game about defending humanity from waves of hostile aliens called the Vec. This game is all about positioning and manipulating your enemies, pulling or pushing them out of position so they miss their attacks, or better yet, so they hit each other, while protecting the human buildings from damage. This game is so mechanically pure, it almost becomes a puzzle game, where you're trying to get everything to fit exactly. There are 15 different squads to unlock, all with their different play styles and abilities, together with 13 unique pilots who also have different abilities, so there's a lot to play with here. Shadow Tactics Blade of the Shogun is a real-time stealth tactics game set in Edo-era Japan. You complete levels using a cast of up to 5 different characters, all with their own strengths, weaknesses, and unique abilities. And then you can re-attempt those levels with specific challenges like not killing anyone or never being spotted, which adds a ton of replayability and challenges you to master each level. Here we have something rather different. Forewarned is a first-person survival horror game. You, together with up to 3 other players, delve into an Egyptian tomb in search of treasure. Once in the tomb, you have to keep track of abnormalities in order to identify which mummy is sealed in the tomb. Then, once you're confident in your guess, you can attempt to name the spirit to gain access to the inner chamber and the artifacts within. But of course, it's not that easy. The mummy isn't willing to let you get away with the treasure, and will manifest. There are 7 different mummies and 13 different procedurally generated maps. The gold you find in the tomb can also be used to upgrade and buy new equipment. Overall, a very fun game to play with friends, and a rather unnerving one to play solo. At this point, everyone has played XCOM 2, but if you haven't for whatever reason, now is really the time, with the game being 95% off. XCOM 2 is a turn-based tactics game. Liberate Earth from the alien occupiers while carrying out research, base building, and equipment manufacturing. Level up your soldiers and watch them die horribly for the great cause. With 4 different classes, each with a choice of 2 different abilities at each level up. I do recommend the game's DLC, War of the Chosen, but for a first-time player, it's probably better to stick with the base game. Complete a playthrough and then consider the DLC if you want more. I have made other videos like this, and I try to avoid using the same game more than once. So if you want more games, consider checking out my Steam sale playlist. Thank you for watching and see you next time.